Today I'm going to be showing you how I render wood grain. To give us a head start, I've already sketched out a flat pack design coffee table. I start by rendering it almost like it was an opaque color. So right here I'm just laying down a first tone of a light brown so I can start to get a sense of the form. And notice how on that top surface I used a very kind of dry marker so I could use the marker to get a little bit of a gradation. Next, I'm coming in with a slightly darker brown marker, and I'm trying to give a sense of depth here, showing the light hitting that kind of front top surface and everything else being in varying degrees of shadow. And then lastly, I'm going to come in with a third darker brown. So I like to use three tones so I can get a sense of how dark I can get. Now I'm going to come back in with my lightest brown and using just the very tip of the marker, I'm going to put down a very long kind of V pattern that's going to simulate grain across that top surface. And then I'm going to come back with that slightly darker brown again. And so those two tones of wood grain, that's going to really give me some nice depth. So now that I've got that top surface defined, I'm going to start wrapping the wood grain around the other surfaces, coming back in with that darkest brown for that dark side. And I'm just going to kind of indicate it there because it's in shadow. So I'm going to come back in with a ballpoint pen and actually over top of all that marker, just give us one more layer of depth and really kind of pop that wood grain out. And now I can really start to see it starting to take shape. That's getting a nice sense. And then at the opposite end of the spectrum, coming back in with a white pencil and doing the same, just a little bit selectively. I'm going to come back in here, hit all those edges with the white pencil again as well, so I can get that sketch to start to pop. And I think it needs a little bit more depth, so I'm going to come back in with a Sharpie and get those outer edges and really push the sketch a little bit more, define the edges, give it a little bit of weight on the page. And so you can see this technique is it's pretty light. I don't want to over render the wood grain. I just want to give you enough information to indicate it nicely without kind of taking the sketch over completely. So there you go. Give it a shot in one of your concept sketches, and if you post it on Instagram, tag me in it and let me know how it turned out. If you have any questions or comments, leave them in the comments below.